Kuzu Zangpo. Welcome to the e-learning project. I'm Sonam Zangmo from Drugel Center School, High Campus, and I'm here with lessons for Key Stage 4 and 5, that is for classes 9 through 12, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Today's topic we have is movement along the demand curves, shift of demand curves, reasons for the negatively sloped demand curves, and exceptions to the law of demand. To begin with, let's understand movement along the demand curve. What does it mean by movement along the demand curve? Movement along the demand curve is of two types. First and foremost, what we are going to be doing is to understand what movement actually means. Movement, for the understanding of somebody who never went to the school of economics or who never studied economics, can be there is either going to be increase or decrease in demand of a particular commodity. So let's look at the meaning of what it means by movement along the demand curve. When the quantity demanded of a commodity changes, that is by change, as I mentioned earlier, either demand is going to increase or it's going to decrease. That's rises or falls as a result of change in its own price, while other factors affecting demand remains constant. We know that there are many other factors that will affect demand other than price. But in case of movement along the demand curve, it is the sole factor, that is the price. Because of change in price, because if you look at a graph here, because of change in price, what is going to happen to the quantity demanded of a commodity? So in other words, when we talk about movement, we are basically talking about the law of demand. So when price changes, what will happen to demand? And when price falls, what will happen to demand? Like basically, higher the price, what will happen to demand? And lower the price, what will happen to demand? This is what we understand, or we have to understand by movement along the demand curve. Movement along, as I mentioned earlier, is of two types. It's extension and contraction. By extension, what is happening is we're going to be using a graph here to understand extension and contraction of demand. The literal meaning of the word, okay, given here is very important for us. We need to break down these words. This concept is written as extension and contraction. By extension, what do we understand? Extension or expansion, in other words. Extension means there will be increase in demand. So if you look at the graph here, you have price that the value is given in dollars, price is on y-axis, and quantity demanded is given on x-axis. And so if you look at the figures there, the price starts from $1,000 and the last price we have here is $6,000. At the price $4,000, what is the quantity demanded? We can see that it is 4 million. When the price decreases from 3,000 to 2,000, if you look at the quantity demanded, it has increased from 5 to 6 by 1 million, it has increased. So when we talk about extension from the original price, what is the original price here? The original price is $3,000. So from $3,000, when the price decreased to $2,000, the quantity demanded increase. And so what did we say? Lower the price, higher the demand, higher the demand. But the other price, if you look at the other price, that's 4,000. From 3,000, if the price has shot up to 4,000, what is the quantity demanded? Quantity demanded has shifted, okay, to the left, to 4. And so by contraction, higher the price, lower the demand. By extension, lower the price, higher the demand. So this is the movement along the demand curves. There are two movements, please remember that. One is contraction, shrinking, becoming smaller. When will it become small? reflect on the law of demand. When the price is high, less will be the demand, contraction. When the price is less, increase in demand, extension of demand. All right. Let's move on with the next lesson. Here, shift in demand. And here, when we talk about shift in demand, we have again two types of shifts, either increase in demand or decrease in demand. Or you can also say shift to the right and shift to the left. This is also right, because when we move towards the left from the original quantity demanded, it is shift to the it is a decrease in demand. And when from the original quantity demanded, when you move towards the right, you have increase in demand. So this is what we have here, the graphical representation of shift to the right, shift to the left, or you can say increase in demand or decrease in demand. So here, if you look at the shift, remember, in movement along, the one factor that will determine the movement is the price of the commodity. Whether you talk about buying shoes, buying books, bags, umbrellas, laptops, iPads, iPhones, cameras, whatever, the number one factor you are talking that will determine the movement is the price. However, in the case of shift, it is different. Other than the factor price that will influence or determine demand, you have other factors that will determine demand. Consumers' preferences, size and composition of population. All right. So to bring about a few examples, these are the two examples which will influence demand. And so here in this scenario, you remember price will never change. Price will remain same. That's why at the price $4,000, what is happening is, you have the curves moving towards the right and also moving towards the left. Here you need to understand that the original quantity demanded of a particular commodity, and here we're going to take the example, or we're going to be assuming the commodity we are talking about is school bags. Since the school has already started, okay, at Nultrum 4,000, the quantity demanded of school bags is 500. Let's say, let's just ignore the million here, all right? All right, let's say 5,000 bags, 5,000 bags. Now, in this case, the original quantity is 5,000 bags, and the price Nultrum 4,000. At the same price, if you look at D2, the shift to the right, demand has increased. But let's ask ourselves, did the price move? No, price is very stubborn. It will remain there. And why? Why would demand change? Why would demand become less or more? This is because of other factors other than price. Like we talked about choices or preferences, future price expectation, size and composition of population. So that way, those factors will influence, not the price. Please remember that. Price will not affect this movement. This movement will be caused, this shift, okay, will be caused by all the other factors other than price. So shift to the right, I said that time, shift to the right means increase. And so if you look at the figure here, from 5 to 6, it has increased. And shift to the left or decrease, 5, the original quantity demanded, it has decreased to 4. So these are the two shifts in demand, which is caused or which is going to be caused by other factors other than price. Now, why other than price? Because price is not moving, but the curves are moving right and left. So here, no price. Here, you have to ignore price, but focus on other factors other than price, future price expectation, size and population of the size and composition of the population, and also taste and preferences of the consumers. These are some of the examples, all right? Let's move further. Next one is, it's very interesting sometimes, as economic students, it is very interesting and also important for us. If you want to learn economics, the key, okay? The key to learning economics better is to question why. If you question why, it happens in other subjects as well, but in economics it's very relevant, it's very pertinent. You need to ask why. And so that's why we have seen that the demand curve is negatively sloped, all right? So when the demand curve is negatively sloped, we need to ask, why is it negatively sloped? And so we're going to be going over a couple of factors that has caused the demand curve to be negatively sloped. In other words, why is this happening? Why is this negatively sloped? Negatively sloped, inversely related, opposite to price and quantity demanded. Opposite, see, higher the price, lower the demand, lower the price, higher the demand. All right. Why is this happening? It's important for us to know. If you want to learn economics more, let's do it together. All right. The first reason is the law of diminishing marginal utility. All right. Now, law of diminishing marginal utility, it states that, okay, the law states that marginal utility of a commodity falls with increase in its consumption. Hence, consumers will demand more only if the price falls. Now, what do you get of this? This is basically saying, imagine, okay, I have a bowl of mangoes for you, since the mango season has already set in. And so we are having it right now, okay? So I take one, you take one, all right? We finish that in a matter of seconds, all right? Then we go for the second share. We go for the second. You take one, I take one. Then by and by, what you will realize is, let me ask you this. Can you eat 10 mangoes at one go? No. Why? Because marginal utility goes on diminishing, meaning the diminishing word here is talking about your satisfaction level will go down as you consume a particular commodity more. All right? First mango, very excited. In a matter of seconds, you will finish it. Second mango, maybe a minute. And the third mango, maybe few minutes. And the fourth mango, and so on. What will happen? You will take more time to consume that. Okay? The marginal utility will go on diminishing with the consumption of a particular commodity. That's why, okay? Consumers, what they will do is, they will not pay more price for the particular commodity because they are satisfied. All right? They are satisfied. You know, if you finish this bowl of mango, which has 100 mangoes right now, both you and I were eating this, okay? And somebody is selling mango outside. Would you want to buy or order, like, you know, a few kgs of mango to eat again? No. Okay? First thing what we'll do is we'll ask the price. So the mango which we are having right now is like, let's say, 250 per kilogram. And what he is doing is, he is selling it for 250 or 280 niltram per kilogram. What we will do is, we will not buy it. But maybe if the price goes down, all right, let's say from 280 to 100, if he is selling it, we may buy. So hence, consumers will demand more only if the price falls. So this is something you may, I hope you will keep in your mind, that negatively sloped, higher the price will demand less. Lower the price will demand more, because we get satisfied with the consumption of a particular commodity. And only if the price of that commodity falls, perhaps we may buy, all right? So that's the first reason why it's negatively sloped. It's basically explaining the law of demand, all right? Let's move on with the next reason why our demand curve is negatively sloped. Income effect. What is income? Again, literal meaning, income. By income, somebody has a remuneration for the effort he has put into production of a particular commodity. Either you're working or you're manufacturing or you're producing certain goods and services for which you get a reward, and that's the income. All right? Income effect. When price of a commodity falls, it results in the increase in the real income or purchasing power of the consumers. So fall in price, demand increases. So here again, since we already talked about the mango, what we will do is, let's say we bought the mangoes at Niltram 250, all right? Well, how much mango did we buy? Let's assume, a wild assumption, we bought 10 kgs of mango, okay? So we finished consuming that. Now, in the next scenario, coming to income effect, we have to assume that the price of mango has fallen from 250 to 100, okay? 250 to 100. And my income that time when it was 250 had been, let's say, 25,000. and still it is 25,000. But when the price of the mango has fallen, what happens is my purchasing power rises. My purchasing power rises. Because the price of the mango has fallen, I have more money now, because earlier I paid 250, now the price of the mango has fallen to 100. So which means with my same income, because of the fall in the price of the mangoes from 250 to 100, I can buy more mangoes. So therefore, lower the price, more the demand. Again, because we are talking about why the negatively sloped demand curve, you have to understand that income being same, when the price falls, purchasing power or the real income of the consumers will increase. Okay? And when that increases, what will happen is he will be able to buy more that time. So that's why the negatively sloped demand curve. Once again, when price of a commodity falls, it results in increase in the real income or purchasing power of the consumers. So fall in price, demand increases. Because see, now I can save 150 more because the price of the mango has fallen to 100. So maybe I can buy more, all right? So lower the price, more the demand, all right? I hope you got it. Let's move on with the next factor, substitution effect. Substitution, literal meaning. Let's be mindful, literal meaning. Substitution, coffee for tea, shoes for sandals, all right? Umbrellas for raincoats, all right? Then you can talk about rice for bread, all right? Vegetables, cabbage for cauliflower. So substitute. It is based on the idea that as price rises, consumers replace more expensive items with cheaper substitutions or alternatives, assuming income doesn't change. So substitution effect is another factor which leads to the downward sloping of the demand curve. Example, if price of your favorite pen increases, you will have to go for a cheaper pen. So substitution effect, meaning, now when we talk about substitution, I already mentioned this, all right. Let's talk about cello gripper pen and cello pointing pen, all right. Cello pointing pen, the price of cello pointing pen is 25, let's say, and the cello gripper pen is 15, all right. Now these two pens, right now one pen has a higher price and the other one has a lower price. Now suddenly what happens is cello pointing increases to from 50, but cello gripper remains the same. What will you do? Both are used for writing. You will go for cello gripper, for which the price did not increase. So substitution will matter a lot, which means here, if the price of your favorite pen increases, you will have to go for a cheaper pen. Cello pointing had been your favorite pen, but the price has increased. But the pen which is not your favorite, okay, if the price did not increase, meaning if the price is less, you will buy more. Lesser the price, more the quantity demanded. All right, let's move on with the next one, multiple uses or numerous uses of a particular commodity. If an item can be used for several purposes, all right, several purposes, and has a high price, demand will fall as these items will be used only for important purposes. So let's talk about an item which has multiple uses. Let's talk about wood, let's talk about timber. Timber has the most, I think, most varied use, right? You use timber for making furniture, you use timber for construction, decoration items. So with that, but if the price of timber increases, what will you do? Your demand will become less. Your demand will become less. However, the question remains as in, will you completely stop using that product? Not at all. What will you do? You will use it only for important purposes. In the next line, on the other hand, if the price of the goods which has many uses falls, the price of the timber, see, timber we just discussed has multiple uses, construction, furniture, all right? So many other uses, you know it, all right? It will be even used for those purposes which are least important, increasing the demand. So a good which has multiple uses, if their prices fall, you will demand more and you will put it to others, you will put it to use for other purposes which you were not using earlier. So this is known as multiple uses. When a commodity okay, or when the product has multiple uses, it will cause the demand curve to be sloped negatively, and these are the two reasons. Let's move ahead. Increase in number of consumers. Fall in price will cause income and substitution effect for the current consumer. So, in the interest of time, I will not go to this income and substitution effect because we already talked about that, all right. However, you can remember, I am going to give you a hint. In the income, what is happening is the purchasing power of the consumer will become high with the fall in the price of the commodity. Substitution effect, two goods which can be used irreversibly, okay. That substitution, that is substitution effect. The price of one commodity increases, you can go for the other one because you can still use it in the place of the other. So, in addition, even those who were not able to consume earlier will now demand the goods for which the price has fallen. So, increase in number of consumers. When we talk about increase in consumers, you have to remember, you have to mention income effect and substitution effect, and these two will push the consumers to demand those goods and services for which the price has fallen, leading to lower the price, lower the demand. And it can also operate this way: when the price increases, demand will become less. So, here the next concept we have is exceptions to the law of demand. By exceptions, what it means is, the question we have to ask ourselves is it some everyday happening? The answer is no. But does it mean it should not happen at all, or is it not expected to happen? No. It is not happening every day, but we can expect it to happen. That's why exception, all right. We can say that, right now the weather is so good, it's so bright, it's so sunny, all right. But it's an exception that it might rain, all right. So, that's exception, in other words. So, exceptions to the law of demand. This is our law of demand graph, which is negatively sloped, which means higher the price, lower the demand, lower the price, higher the demand. But you will realize later that, our demand curve is following the supply curve. Okay. To understand exceptions to the law of demand, we will first have a schedule of the exceptions to the law of demand. So, if you look at our actual law of demand, let me also have a schedule for this right now. This is the quantity demanded on the right hand, on the left hand is the price. So, 5, 10, 15 and 20, and so here 10, 8, 6 and 3. So, this is the schedule for the law of demand, and this is our law of demand curve. Now, let us have the schedule for the exceptions to the law of supply, all right. Before we move on with the graph, first let us complete the schedule. Okay. So, to understand exceptions to the law of demand, first you need to understand what is the law of demand. The law of demand, lower the price, higher the demand, higher the price, lower the demand. Higher price, lower demand, lower price, higher demand. This is the graph, this is the curve for the law of demand. To understand exception to the law of demand, I said the question is this happening every day? Okay, that's the question we need to ask. No, it's not happening every day. But does it mean it never happens, or it is never going to happen? No, it will happen. And so, we will look at certain factors which is causing this later on. But first, let us understand this with the schedule, all right. It means that with the increase in price of a particular commodity, what will happen is that the quantity demanded will increase, all right. If you look at our schedule, what is happening is, although we are talking about demand, you will see this schedule is showing us a direct relationship between price of the commodity and quantity demanded of a commodity. And that is why exception to the law of demand will give us this curve. And so some of you may be wondering why we have, why the demand curve is a supply curve here. The answer is exception to the law of demand. And there are certain factors that I'll take you through which may help you to understand this. So if you look at this, demand, but this demand looks like a supply curve, all right? We are not wrong, all right? We are right. This is happening. But is it happening every day? No, it's not happening every day. It is happening once in a while, and there are certain factors we'll go through. So this is the exception to the law of demand curve, and this is the schedule. Remember, when price increases, demand is increasing. See, look at the price, high is 40 here, and look at the quantity demanded, 400. Going against the law of demand. In the law of demand, what we learned, high is the price, low is the demand. All right? So this is what we are going to be looking at in detail, because there are certain factors which is causing this. This is what is happening. High price, quantity demanded is also high. Low price, quantity demanded is also low. All right. So let's look at the factors then to understand this better. Okay. So the number one factor that is causing the demand curve to be positively sloped is the Giffen's good. And Giffen's good is derived, or this is a concept that is derived by Sir Robert Giffen, and he is the man here, all right. What he said is that Giffen goods that are those inferior goods, low quality goods on which the consumer spends a large part of his income and the demand for which falls with a fall in their price. So we talk about we talk about inferior goods. There are lots of inferior goods in the community. So for better understanding, generally people consider karang. In our context, karang is a Giffen good. So let's say the price of karang right now is from 25 per kilogram, but the price of red rice is like 130 per kilogram, all right. If the price of karang from 25, if it drops to from 10, what will people do is people will leave karang and perhaps they will go for consuming red rice with the extra money that they can save from the karang that they have been consuming. And so that's why our demand curve is positively sloped. Although in reality it has to be negatively sloped, right now Giffen's good is making it to be positively sloped. Lower the price, lower the demand. All right. Let's move on with the next factor. The second factor, or another factor that is making the demand curve to slope positively, is here. However, before we move into detail, okay, why this is happening, I have some items for you, okay, and you will help me to identify what these items are. What is this? Is a gold ring? You have one? I don't have any, all right. Is a gold ring with a stone, is a diamond gold ring, all right. The second one is already written there as the most expensive car in the world, perhaps, okay. I know the most expensive car, one of the most expensive cars is the Ferrari, all right. And so here we have two items which are supposed to be very expensive. You may have the gold ring, I don't have any, all right, because it's expensive. I cannot afford to buy it, all right. I have other essential things to take care of than buying a gold ring. But the question is, does it mean you cannot have it or you cannot own it? No, you can. So this is the law of demand, which is saying we will go with this. Low price, more demand, high price, low demand. But there are some of us in our economy, in our community, in the world at large, who believes, okay, that when the price is high, demand will be high, or who would go with this principle. So let's see. This is the factor, articles of snap appeal, okay, articles of snob appeal. When you own the most expensive car, what happens to you? Do you feel good? Do you feel proud? All right? Yes, you do. All right? So here, if you look at this, articles of snob appeal are the commodities which serve as a status symbol. All right? Increase social prestige and are a source of display of wealth and richness. I don't have a gold ring. You may have. If you go to the town, okay, you and I walk together, and then people will look at us, and I don't have a gold ring, you have a gold ring, and people will straight away think or assume. And this is not an assumption. The reality is that you can buy or you can own a gold ring with a diamond stone or a stone there because you have lots of money. So what does it tell the community at large is that the one who has the gold ring or the diamond ring or the one who has the most expensive car is a rich man. Symbol, okay, status symbol. It talks about the status of your property, in other words. Social prestige. People look at you as a rich man, rich woman, all right? And so, who propounded this concept is Thorstein Veblen, was the first to coin the term and termed these goods as goods of conspicuous consumption. People will buy these goods. See, more expensive, more demand. Less price, less demand. So people think, people have this is, I do not really want to have this, I do not really want to create this misunderstanding as in expensive goods are like, are not good. I don't want to create this confusion here. But the reality is sometimes people make this wild assumption that somebody who drives the most expensive car is the happiest man on earth or the woman on earth, or somebody who has gold ornaments or has the most expensive kira are the happiest or the richest. So with this, there are some of us who will go for these commodities because it gives them the social prestige. They want to feel good, and when people look at them as in, oh, they are rich, they have lots of money, they have lots of property. So because of this reason, people generally buy more at a higher price. Less, okay, they will buy less. Q2, Q1, they will buy less at a lower price, giving us our positively sloped demand curve. Now here, I want to make this emphasize. Do you believe that owning lots of gold and property, okay, will make you feel good? Maybe you feel good, maybe you do not. But as a GNH citizen, all right, as a citizen of a country whose development philosophy is gross national happiness, we need to do this justice. We need to do this judgment. Are the resources enough? Okay, can we have everything we want? Because the current scenario is that many youths, okay, many of your friends are of the belief that if you carry the most expensive electronic gadget, you are the most handsome boy or the most smartest boy on earth. But that's not true, all right? You have to do this judgment yourself. But when I say this, I do not mean you cannot own the most expensive electronic gadget. You may, if it is comfortable. But the point is, do not pressurize your parents. Be mindful. Just by carrying the most expensive electronic gadget, you do not become somebody special. You become special being mindful, being helpful, being an unconditional lover of nature and your family and the community at large, having the will, integrity, honesty to serve the Sawasum from your heart. That would make you a good man. Wearing the gold rings, okay, owning the most expensive electronic gadgets, currently the Apple products will not make us, okay, any different if your mindset is not changed. So please bear this value in your mind, all right? Another factor that is making our demand curve to be positively sloped is expectations regarding future prices. So here consumers are basically going to have an assumption, or maybe they are going to hear a forecast that price will either increase in the future or decrease in the future. And according to whether the price will increase or decrease in the future, what will happen to demand? We are going to look at our slide. If the price of a commodity is rising today, meaning if the price of a commodity increases today, let's say right now, its price is likely to rise more in the future. So expectation, all right? People feel that, okay, today 1 liter of water is it has increased from 20 to 50. And then they feel that the price of the water might increase again in the future. So what they are doing then is, even if the price has increased right now from 20 to 50, they will demand more and stock it up for future use, because they don't want to spend more money when the price increases in the future. So even if the price is high right now, they will buy still higher price. Even if it is higher price, demand will be more. Similarly, if consumers expect price of a commodity to fall in the future, they will postpone their consumption so as to buy at a lower price in the future. Right now, let's say the price of water is 20. A liter of water is 20. And they have this expectation, all right, so maybe in a 2 weeks' time or a month's time, the price of a liter of water might decrease to 10. What will people do is, even if the price of the water is at 20 right now, which is cheaper, they expect that price will decrease more in the future. So even at a lower price, they won't buy the water which is cheap. So with this, we'll move on with another factor. So emergencies. So what are emergencies? Emergencies are situations or moments for which we will not be prepared. So right now, what is the emergency that's happening in and around the world is the COVID-19 pandemic. It's the coronavirus is all over the world, all right? So it's an emergency because we're not prepared for it. So let's see what happens and why it causes our demand curve to be positively sloped. Law of demand may not operate during emergencies like war, famines, and epidemics. During such situations, consumers behave abnormally. Because we are unprepared and the prices of the goods, if it is high or low, we really don't have the time to do the adjustment or to study. Even if the price of the commodities are high, during such an emergency, people will still buy the goods. Let's talk about the current scenario of coronavirus, okay, pandemic. You know, the price of the mask and the price of hand sanitizers are very high for many lay men and women, you know, but they don't have choice. Even if it is high price, they still buy it because it's an emergency, all right? And they want to be healthy, fit and happy, so they still buy it even if the price is high. Next one is quality price relationship, all right? So we draw this relationship between the quality of the product and the price we paid for a particular commodity, all right? And so how do we do that is generally as a wild assumption. People feel that, okay, if a pair of Nike sneaker is 9,000 and a pair of Skechers is from 900, the first notion we have is, oh, you know, Nike shoes are of quality shoe. They are a good brand shoe. So people have this understanding that higher the price, best is the quality of the product. Lower the price, lower is the quality. But do you believe this is the fact? Again, this is for you to be mindful. When you buy goods and services, please be mindful, okay? I personally feel, this is just my opinion, all right? You may borrow it if you like it, otherwise never mind. I personally feel for us to evaluate or for us to judge make this judgment, quality price relationship is not really justified, because some of the goods for which we pay low price, they last, they are durable, you know, they are durable. For certain goods for which we have paid so much price, they do not last for long, they are not durable, all right? So let's see. Oftentimes, people assume that high price products are of higher quality, all right? Thus, consumers demand more of higher price products as they take price as an indicator of quality. Do you believe so? Do you believe that, let's talk about a Maruti 800 car, okay, for which you pay around 4 lakhs to 5 lakhs, okay? And you talk about Prado, for which you pay around 38 lakhs. Do you think that one is much better than the other? I always feel that, where the Prado reaches, the Maruti 800 car can also reach, unless for other reasons. So you cannot draw this quality price relationship, right? But some people do this. They pay more, understanding that, oh, if I pay more, the quality will be good. If I pay less, the quality will not be good, or the quality will be inferior. Change in fashion, most happening at this moment. People, as the country develop, people become aware of fashion. Whatever is in fashion, they go head over heel in love with those items. Like you talk about clothes, you talk about shoes, you talk about electronic gadgets, you talk about motor vehicles, you talk about motorcycles, you talk about anything, you talk about food items. Fashion is happening in now and here. And then with fashion, let's see what is happening. When the fashion changes, what is happening? Fashion does determine the quality purchase in an abnormal manner. Fashionable commodities are usually of higher price, and consumers will purchase more even at a higher price. When something is in fashion, okay, I have seen lately that especially teenagers are very fond of having this brand Supreme shirts, okay, and also shoes. So even if their price is really high, they don't care, because they want to be in fashion. They want to be in the fashion, in the now and here. They want to join the trend and maybe be looked upon as somebody who is more fashionable. So even if the price is high, people don't care. People still buy what is in fashion. But if there is something which is not in fashion, let's talk about an item like, let's talk about an item like Fulkira, for example, the one which I am wearing right now, the one which many of you wear at school to go to office or to go to school. Since this is not really so much in fashion, even if the price is low, people don't really buy it or consume it, all right? So fashion is making our demand curve to be positively sloped. Change in fashion. When fashion changes, people buy even if the price or the items are expensive. Don't buy it if it is not in fashion. Now, we have come to the end of the lesson, but not so end of the lesson, not the ultimate end. So we're going to have some reflections here, all right? Can you think of some more exceptions to the law of demand? Can you think about some more exceptions to the law of demand? Will consumers buy more of essential commodities if its price rises or price increases? Do you know what demonstration effect is? What is demonstration effect? Your textbooks are with you. You have a mobile, you can go online, you can find it, you can go through your textbook, find it, talk to your parents, talk to your friends, but no, not getting together. I mean like no social get-togethers, all right? You can ask online. It refers to the tendency of a person to emulate the consumption pattern of others, such as friends, relatives, actors, etc. And will it be one of the exceptions to the law of demand? So what is demonstration effect? The definition is given there. If you don't understand this, you can still explore. In simple, what it means is you are basically copying what other people in developed countries are doing. If you want to dye your hair like a Korean singer, pop singer, blonde hair, all right, that's demonstration effect, because our natural hair is black, and because the Korean pop singers look very nice on stage, they are very handsome, very beautiful. If you copy their styles or the fashion, that's demonstration effect, all right. And so the question is, the reflection is, will it be one of the exceptions to the law of demand? That's for you to think. And with this, we have come to the end of our lesson. Thank you for being with me. Please wash your hands and stay happy and healthy. Take care. Thank you.